Hi guys, I hope you had a good weekend. Welcome for another trading recap of the previous week. If you want to see all the trades I took this week, you can skip this video because I didn't take any trades. But I'll go back through how I looked at the market. I was live most of the sessions of the week and it was actually quite boring. But yeah, let's go back through what I thought about the market day by day. So as you can see, coming on the 4 hour, coming into the week, it was quite difficult to have a clear bias about where we were in the model or level wise. So I just waited until something was clean, but it's difficult to trade the lower time frame sometimes when the higher time frame isn't clear like this. I'm going to jump straight up on the 15 minutes from the previous week. We had clearly 3 levels down. Had this nice W over Friday and the start of the weekend on Bitcoin. Exact same thing on Ethereum. And 1 level, 2 level, 3 levels, even a 3rd level. That's here in that UK session. I was waiting for a retest of that area to potentially go short, which this happened right when I stopped my trading session. And I was more implied as well to start trading once we would go back under the 50 EMA and retest it. It was even better on Ethereum because we were tapping into this higher time frame supply and we were tapping into the high of previous week with that beautiful M. The thing is, if you were entering off here, which would have been a good entry, and had you stopped here, US had this wild retrace and you would have been stopped out. So always have the stop loss all the way up here. That's playing the higher time frame if you play that move. But you would have been right for that retrace the whole week, but who would have known that we were going to retrace like this? After this information, we had a first drop one. The good setup here was, if I hide this supply now, on Ethereum, we had a clean 3 pushes up as a retrace, M formation, right into this supply at the EMAs. And the thing is, you had to be trading the CME Open, which is before Asia Open. CME Open is here at 8 a.m. my time. If you were to enter here, beautiful trade. The thing is, I don't always trade the CME Open. I would usually trade it on Monday, which I'll do, by the way. This coming week, I'll be there for the CME Open before Asia live. And I usually trade it as well after big news, but there was no big news on that day. So whether you were trading it or not, if you were not trading it, you would have missed that massive move down. And then from there, I was at work, so I could only trade my UK session. Nothing happened on Wednesday. It was pretty terrible. And I remember here, Thursday, I was actually able to trade Asia. Nothing crazy here to trade, in my opinion. It's difficult to, coming from this price action, to get a bias and know where price is gonna go. But in UK, looking back at it, I remember saying that I was thinking about going long here. I did not, because I didn't respect any of my preferred setup. But we did have quite a nice W here after 2 drop down. And this candle that broke the 50 EMA, if I make it a little bit bigger, retest that zone, hold 50% of the previous week and the previous day. There was potentially a move here. What I like more on Bitcoin is that we didn't have this week here like on Ethereum, but sometimes you can disregard the wicks. This was, so you call that fair value gap for some people, imbalance. There was a good retest of 50% of that candle. And here is something I talked about in a previous video. When you're coming from a down move, you have a wick down, and from here price doesn't go back to that level, and you have sort of that descending triangle. There's a high likelihood we're gonna pop out of it. I just didn't see it that way and I didn't feel confident. Probably was scared a little bit. This is something I went through lately a bit, is lacking confidence. It's good because I'm waiting for the ideal setups, but at the same time, I'm trading a little bit out of fear and I'm missing out on setups. But not super upset about this one. It's just that I misread this and I only noticed it after that this was gonna happen. But I was right on the move on the day. If you go back to the live trading session, I was thinking going long. It just wasn't high probability enough for me to go through it. I was expecting a move on Friday because we've been ranging this whole week and this looked a bit like a retrace. We did, if you count from this W here, there was 1, 2, 3 levels. So 1 in Asia, 1 in UK, and 1 in Asia the next day. Not something I would trade, that sharp, aggressive entry from the top. But I was waiting for a retest of that zone, which we never get. And here my mistake in UK is I usually come a little bit before the gap because I know I can enter right off the gap, which should have been that entry here. but I came right after on the 5 minute, so that the 5 minute candle closed about here, and I'm thought, okay, I've missed the entry. I'm too late on this trade. There's no point opening a trade here. My stop loss is just way too big. If I get something better, I'll take it. So the whole of UK session, price didn't go anywhere, but who would have thought that we would have dropped and keep going lower over the US session and the weekend? That would have still been a good trade. So here is a lesson about sometimes you're not too late. And then I don't trade US. I was about to make an exception for Friday, but price was about here 10 when I went to bed and checked at my phone. And I expected US to just keep trending down, but I didn't want to stay up to trade it, so couldn't trade that move. This, if you look on the 1 hour though on Bitcoin, that demand here that created that massive move up with displacement here in the middle that took all these highs, ran through and retested here. So sort of a breaker. It was a beautiful entry if you had to trade late UK session and playing the higher time frame. Something I didn't do, and that's okay. This is my trading week, quick one. Nothing happened. It's quite difficult when you're pretty much the whole week trading, attending every session, waiting for a setup to be able to don't rush into a trade. That's why I didn't want to trade much of US session on Friday as well, because I was fearful about me trying to force a setup just to get a trade for the week. There's definitely setup I've missed by being a little bit fearful, but at the same time I've been patient waiting for a really good setup, so that's all good. As long as I don't lose money, I'm happy about it. We'll see this week what we can do. It's a new month as well. July closed in red, so I'd really like to have a green month, and we'll try to have August that way. I'm in drawdown on a 50K evaluation, and I've got 2 new evaluations that are brand new. That's why I didn't want to force a trade and have them in drawdown as well to start the month. So these are brand new. I've got 100K and a 50K that are brand new. It's the first time that I'm gonna trade 3 evaluation at the same time. I might use one to trade a bit more higher time frame. I'm gonna see how I go about it. But yeah, I'll see you tomorrow morning for the CME Open, and I'll probably do Asia and UK as well. See you guys. Have a good evening.